What are we going to be talking about today? I really don't know. So I thought about talking about something that I actually did without really noticing that I did it. And that's about a video I posted about like 2 weeks ago, I think it was. The title was like, "Are Bullies Creating High School Shooters?" or something. I'm not 100% sure that's the title. So I did that video without knowing that there's actually a movement called Walk Up, Not Out. And I believe the movement pretty much says something like what I said in the video about instead of ignoring or pushing students or children in schools that are perceived as weird or outsiders or outcasts, instead of like ignoring them and pushing them aside, walk up to them and create a friendship so that, in other words, the person will not become a high school shooter. I believe that's what the whole point of the walk up not out thing is. And technically, it pretty much says the same thing I said on that video. But then, due to that, that's pretty much what it says. That's the premise. The premise is, instead of ignoring them, walk up to them, create the friendship so that they don't become high school shooters. Well, obviously, someone has to bring up the quite opposite of that, which would be, so you're blaming the people who don't walk up to them, and because of the people that don't walk up to them, not walking up to them, that's why they become high school shooters. So you're blaming the kids that don't treat them nice, so you're making them the reason they become a high school shooter. So that's extremely unfair, and you should not do that, and that is extremely stupid. So I've realized that people are actually thinking this. Like, I mean, the premise is just, technically it's like, walk up to them. Okay, unfortunately, the way they said it at first, or made it look, is as if you're blaming someone for the reason that they become high school shooters. You're not blaming anyone. Technically, it just says walk up to them. That's pretty much it. I understand how that can be changed, and the words can be used against itself, and the hashtag can become its own enemy. I completely understand how that comes about in today's society, where every single thing has to be turned into a political correctness crap. Well, I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's actually quite funny because I kept thinking to myself, I don't see what's wrong with the hashtag walk up instead of walk out. I don't see what's wrong. I do understand the point of view that you're blaming the other kids for not treating them right. So you're saying it's like, so it's my daughter's fault that this other kid went to school and shot her up just because he couldn't control himself and she wouldn't be his friend. And when you think deep down into it, you realize the problem there, which I'll get to in a moment. I don't think the issue is whether or not a person is bullied, or a person is an outcast, or a person has friends or doesn't have friends. I mean, I've seen a few comments that say, I'll quote this. One guy was like, when I was in the high school, people wouldn't talk to me and I was always silent, and I would rather not socialize with anyone, but I would never shoot up a school, and I would never want anyone to be a fake friend just because they're afraid of getting shot or anything, or this, or if I become a high school shooter. Well, first of all, talking about genuine stuff in high school, let's be honest here. I mean, how many friends do you have that are still your same friends as they were in high school? And don't come talk to me like, no, I have this friend that we've been friends since we're in elementary school. Okay. But how many friends did you make in high school who are still your best friends? And don't tell me you're in high school and you're answering this question. Shut up, you don't count. I'm talking about you're a legit adult with a life, with responsibilities and a job. How many of those high school friends that you used to hang out with every single day are still your deep friends that visit you and talk to you weekly, monthly, every month, or once every year, or whatever? So, talking about having genuine friends in high school, that is something you should not put together with the whole problem at hand, because reality is, you yourself probably weren't as genuine as you probably think you were. Because, I mean, high school students, what the hell would they know at the end of the day about being genuine or anything? And don't turn it into, what do high school kids know, this and that. I'm getting to the point of this video. The point of this video is, it doesn't matter if you're pro-gun or not. It doesn't matter if you think people are going to get a knife or a gun, a car, ram it into a school, or whatever damage they're going to do in your and you might say, it doesn't matter what they do, because if someone wants to hurt someone, they will find a way. That is completely correct. The point of everything is, the issue of preventing high school shootings doesn't come from the high school students. That's not where the problem is. The rules that people are trying to put at the moment of, let's just ban guns in order to prevent high school shootings. Okay, it has a point. I am pro putting laws that will make it extremely more difficult for unstable people to get guns. I'm completely for that. Why? Because here we have laws that prevent crazy people from getting guns, and we are still one of the highest murder ratio places in the fucking world. So that's not the point. I'm completely up for it. What I'm trying to say is, if you don't attack the source of these cycles of creating students that go to high school and want to shoot up the school, it's not because they're getting bullied. It's not because they don't get friends. It's not because people do go talk to them. It's not because of anything. It all starts in one place. And that place is at home. Let that sink in for a moment, because people might be like, oh, they might be still pissed about what I said about high school students not being genuine. The problem with every single thing that happens in today's youngsters, which I consider myself a youngster, is parents. It's their parents' fault. If you, as a parent, don't dedicate the time needed to teach your child to be a decent fucking human, what can you expect? And you're still fighting here because you're pissed at the fact that they're telling your daughter that she needs to go talk to that crazy kid. That's not what they're saying. That's not what should any of this matter. That's not how any of this works. You should create a human being. You should teach humans to treat others humans nicely. Why? Because if we started over there, we wouldn't have to tell her to go talk to him or tell him not to shoot up the school. The problem wouldn't exist. If parents taught their children how to deal with anger issues, this wouldn't be a problem. The problem is, parents themselves don't know how to deal with anger issues. That's why we have all these fights, and when you see these videos of parents fighting in high schools or taking out knives to show a point, because parents are the real problem here. They're not really parents. They're just people who had a baby and they think they know how to deal with life and show a kid how to move on with life. If you don't even have your life together, how can you expect to show a kid how to have his together? I mean, I'm not gonna go into the fact of whether or not you have a job or you don't have a job or you have responsibilities or you don't have your responsibilities. I don't give a shit about that. I'm talking about being a decent human being. You don't need a job to be a decent human being. You don't need education to be a decent human being. All you need is to be a motherfucking decent human being. And to recap, because you might still be caught in the whole, oh my god, he said that high school students aren't genuine or shit. Shut the fuck up for a moment, okay? And listen, if parents taught their kids to be decent kids, human beings, treat others with respect, not be a racist a-hole, not go around not wanting to build walls, thinking, oh my god, they're stealing my jobs, this and that. If parents taught their kids, respect the other kids. I'm not talking about sharing or crap. We're not even getting there today. I'm talking about being decent human being. Treating others the way you want to be treated. Telling your kids that. I mean, teach them how to deal with bullies. Teach them how to deal with not getting accepted into society or whatever. Teach them. The problem is, you yourself might not have the preparation. Teach your kids how to deal with all these things. Well, that's something you should have thought about before having a kid. And you might be telling me, don't tell me when to have kids, this and that. Again, this is where we are. This is where we get at with all this situation, because people hate to be told what to do. It's reality. If parents taught their kids how to be decent human beings, don't go around shooting schools, don't crash your car into other people just because you're mad, don't go around punching walls, doors, don't go around stabbing people, respect if you have a gun in the house, teach them about the gun and why they shouldn't be going around playing with it. The same if they have knives or anything. Like, if you teach them how to be fucking decent human beings, you don't have to make hashtags of walk up or walk out, because we wouldn't be having this problem. We wouldn't be having hate crimes. We wouldn't be having all these psycho boyfriends that go around doing crap. We wouldn't be having revenge crap on the internet. We wouldn't be having stupid children who freaking go around making excuses as when is it okay to rape someone. We wouldn't have any of that if you taught someone in your fucking house when to respect women, or respect, it doesn't have to do with women or men, when to respect another person. Why? Because that's what we're here for. We're on the same freaking boat. We need to get out of this. We're getting out of this dead anyway, so you might as well be nice on the way. And so the whole point of this thing is, I believe that the whole hashtag of walk up or walk out is as stupid as the whole hashtag of going against it. Why? Because the problem isn't in the high school. The problem is in the house. Kids don't live in the high school and think about shooting up the high school while they're in the high school. Yes, they probably do think about that. Well, where is it that they get all the other stuff to go to the high school and do it? Again, if parents were to teach their kids how to be decent freaking human beings, we don't even have to worry about high school shootings. We wouldn't even have to be worrying about other shootings outside of high schools, because people at the moment are focusing on high schools, on students killing students. But they're completely ignoring at the moment the other massacres that go around every single other day. So in other words, if students are doing it, but adults do it way more, what does that tell you? It goes back to the main thing. It doesn't have to do with that one kid that's silent in the room. We're not saying that kid is the one that's going to destroy the whole school. It has to go back to the point that parents are the one that started everything wrong. And then you might be saying, oh my god, yes, it's the fault of those young kids these days that get babies. Well, it has a point. Why? Because obviously young kids today, when I say young kids today, I'm talking about like extremely young kids. They still don't know how to deal with issues with their friends. They don't know how to talk it out with their friends. They still get pissed over stupid shit about whether or not your best girlfriend is talking to your ex-boyfriend or this and that. They don't know how to talk it over. They'll probably make a status on Facebook, bitch about it, and then end up fighting or whatnot, and then they never talk about it again. So they don't deal with the issues at the moment. They don't talk about it. They don't move. They don't do anything about it. So what ends up happening? They keep getting all these things inside, and then they blow up eventually. They never learn how to deal with these things. Never learn how to cope with these things. And you expect those people to teach kids how to cope with things? It's illogical. And then you're telling me about youngsters who have babies at an extreme young age, and either they don't raise them themselves or they give them to their parents to raise. So what you're doing is pretty much doing the same cycle again. The same way you don't know how to deal with something because your parents didn't teach you how to deal with it, your parents are going to teach your kids not to deal with it. They won't have the tools. If they didn't have them with you, they probably don't have them yet. You might be thinking, oh, they're older, they're wiser. Yeah, but they still have things that are from another era, which has nothing to do with this era. So, first of all, this is all filled with irresponsibility. The reason we're having high school shootings, the reason we're having all these national massacres are because parents didn't teach a person how to deal with whatever situation they're going on with in their life. And I can't mix that in with the suicide rate because reality is a lot of kids who've committed suicide have had extremely loving homes. They've been supported in their homes, and due to outside people or bullying or whatever things have been happening in the society that has affected them, they've ended up maybe thinking suicide is the option. Which then comes back to the point that parents are at fault. Because there's one kid in that one school that's always bullying the gay kids or bullying the girly boy or bullying that one girl that's like a tomboy. That one kid might be the reason many children have extremely bad days. And how could that be fixed? If that one kid had decent motherfucking parents who would teach him not to be a jerk. All these problems can be chucked up and put in one bowl and given to stupid, irresponsible parents who do not know how to raise a child and how to be a decent human being. And due to this, and due to the fact that so many parents are like this, or so many parents end up not being together in order to teach their kids how to be decent. I mean, let's not even get into the whole divorce rate versus the fact that then when kids are with one parent, that one parent will talk bad about the other parent, and the other parent will talk bad about the other parent, and then you'll have this one kid that's getting raised in this individuality of two parents that hate each other, not being taught how to respect each other as human beings. What can you expect to be? How can you expect that kid to have a clear mind and be peace and have this amount of peace and love he needs in order to grow healthy? I mean, I know a lot of people that have grown in extremely hard circumstances and they've grown up to be good, yes, but even all of them would still have loved to had parents who didn't fight with each other all the time and showed mutual respect. So again, it just keeps going back into the same circle of it's all these parents, irresponsible parents that don't know how to be even decent human beings themselves. They can't raise a kid to be a decent human being if they don't know how to be a decent human being. So all I see is the reason I decided to make this video is because first of all, I did make a video that can be misinterpreted, and I wanted to go deep down into what I believe is the reason to almost every single freaking problem in our nation, and being people that don't respect each other, racism, high school massacres, high school shootings, massacres all around the country, hatred against different religions, bullying, drugs. So many different things can all be chucked up into the same crap. Parents, negligent parents. And then you might be saying like, oh no, I'm an extremely responsible parent and my kid still ended up... Well, something happened along the way which you did not notice. And he strayed from some sort of path, or maybe you were being too demanding, and you were destroying him with so much demanding on what you believed was so strict, and you were not flexible. You did something wrong. I mean, again, if we're talking about cases where kids commit suicide because of extreme bullying, yet their parents were extremely acceptance, then in that case, obviously this is something that goes outside of being a responsible parent, because parents will try to do every single thing they can in order to protect and love their children. But reality is, it can then not be traced to that one parent of that one kid that committed suicide. It can be traced to the parent of the kid that did the bullying. So one way or another, it's a parent that did something wrong. I mean, you might not have been that. My kid might have been filled with love and our house was extremely respectful and we loved him and all of that. And all you need is one kid that in his house, he doesn't have love and he's in the world of drugs, and he takes your kid into the world of drugs, and that's enough to screw every single thing up. It's not your fault. but it's still another parent's fault. That's what I believe. Technically, what I'm trying to say in this big ass rant of a video is that every single problem in our nation at the moment about snowflakes and all of that and pro-gun and high school massacres, all of that can be traced to irresponsible parents, irresponsible upbringing, not having the tools to bring up a healthy child and in a decent home, and ends up doing things that ruin our country and ruin this perspective we have of a society of an age, you know, or millennials or the XYZ. I don't give a damn. So you can agree with me and say that it's people because they're crazy. Being a psychotic or having some genetic mental issue, completely apart. You know, that's not the parents' fault if your kid's bipolar. Completely different thing. I'm talking about people who have no psychological problems and go and do some crazy ass shit because they couldn't deal with whatever situation was happening in front of them. You know, either being their girlfriend cheated on them, they went and stabbed everyone. You know, hey, that's not knowing how to deal with the situation. I've seen extremely violent people that when they are faced with serious situations that normally you would think, oh, he's gonna blow up, they don't. Why? They might be violent on a daily basis, but they know how to deal with violent situations. Does it need to be their parents' upbringing that taught them that? Maybe not. Again, a lot of people are raised in extremely shitty-ass homes, and they grow up to be extremely decent people. Yes, those are exceptions, and those people should be admired, and those are the people that should be telling others how to cope with the situations that life can throw at you. But then you have that one kid that goes to a club, the bouncer says, you can't go in. He thinks his daddy's the big shot. He tells the bouncer, you're gonna work for me one day. Bouncer punches him in the face, kills him. Hey, again, who taught him to be that perky, sassy, bitching attitude, thinks he can just walk around thinking he's the big shot? He got himself killed. Again, his parents. So this might be actually the first part of many videos of ranting about the situation that's going on. But the reason I decided to do this video is because I've seen so many people posting about going against the hashtag of walk up, not walk out. And I keep seeing it, and it's like saying, like one says this is the fault, and the walk up, walk out says it's the fault of not treating those silent kids good. And then the other people say that's extremely bad and you shouldn't blame other kids for not being nice to that one kid, and you shouldn't make anyone be any single way. So technically you're saying that you shouldn't make kids be nicer to other kids. That's technically what you're saying. It's real. You shouldn't make anyone do absolutely anything. People should want to do it genuinely. And where does that come from? The home. I hope you liked this video. If you didn't, that's your problem. I'm just here to try. I mean, I make the videos because I can. I feel like it. I enjoy it. So if you liked it, give it a like or subscribe or leave me a comment below saying what you think. If you're just gonna insult me and think that I'm stupid, that's your problem. I'm extremely sorry you're stupid. But I'd love to see your opinions about it, and I might make more videos about it. You know, having other points of view. I always love different points of view. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.